Hi, Luann Pershaw. How are you?
Hey, Mark Taylor, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Real good.
Yes, and did you have a nice 4th of July holiday?
Yes, I
Great.
did. How about you? A lot of fireworks here on Lake Marion. We had quite the show out
Oh,
here,
I bet
so it was fun.
it would lit up the sky, huh?
Yeah, we did. It was fun, but we were fighting. There was rain both days, fourth and fifth, but
Okay.
got them
Yeah.
in.
Good, good. And down here, we went to Cocoa and listened to the Brevard Symphony. Beautiful music, playing all the patriotic music. And then as it got to be dusk, because we get darker here earlier than back in Minnesota in the summer months.
Sure.
And the fireworks, beautiful fireworks over the water too, over the river. And, with the music, it was very pretty. It was very
W-
nice because they kind of did the fireworks in conjunction with the music, synchronized it together. So that was nice.
Where do they do those down there?
Right by the city of Cocoa.
Oh, cool.
It's Cocoa's right on the Indian River, and so it was beautiful fireworks. And then we also went the next evening on July 5th to Port Canaveral and saw the fireworks there too. And they were nice too. Cocoa and Rockledge's were a little bit better though.
Nice, cool.
Yeah. So I
All
hope
right.
our I hope all our
Oh,
viewers had a wonderful fourth, and
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
that's why we missed on Young and Restless and Bold and Beautiful
We
for so
did, yeah,
long.
the holiday, and some of us are moving again, so
Yeah.
we've been a little busy. Sorry for the delay on the podcast, but we're back today, dishing Young and
Ye-
Restless and Bold and Beautiful.
Yes, and we have a lot of dishing to do.
Yes, we do. Let's get started.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk a little bit first about Audra. I find her character on the Young and Restless quite interesting.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, because she's so pretty too.
well,
And
that too. But
she's
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 also kind of the new evil. She's
yes.
kind of the new evil character. She's one of those that's kind of borderline, like Victor.
Yes, yes, she's pleasant to the eye, and she only looks out for Audra.
Yeah.
She's always trying to find that deal. Tucker trained her well. She's finding the art of the deal, and she found one now.
Yeah. Yeah. And Tucker, yeah, she kind of knocked him out of there. So now she's in charge but she's finding too that she's not really in charge because Victor's still pulling the
Yeah,
pulling the strings there.
I
And
know.
he kind of made her hire Kyle
Yep,
Abbott.
that
And
was
her and Kyle are ex-lovers, and that didn't end well, really. So
no,
that's
and
it's a little struggle there.
yeah, and with Diane, the timing couldn't have been worse. Diane deciding to terminate Kyle for insubordination, and Kyle, just his response to his mom, he feels so entitled. Like
Yeah.
Abbott was meant to be his, and how can you even do this to me? I was doing a great job, and you don't see it, and my dad doesn't see it, and it's like, Kyle, you're acting like a spoiled brat. And
Yeah.
so, it all fell in perfectly into Victor's plan. And when he brought Kyle on, Audra was not real happy about that either. She's like, "Really? You want to bring Kyle? We tried working together before and it didn't work." And Victor said, there's no other option. You will bring Kyle on, and you will not let others know that I'm that investor. And so Audra's been doing very good keeping that under wraps.
I'm
And even,
surprised because you can see she's just eating at her that she wants to
oh,
tell people.
I know. And today in her conversation with Nate, Nate was really, and he was being honest. He's like, "What are you thinking? Why do you have Kyle on board? It didn't work before. It's not going to work again." And she said, "Well, the investor said that he will be on board, and we're going to have to learn to work together." But she was already seeing Kyle's other side, where Kyle already is acting like, I know how to run Glissade. I've been in this business for more years than you, and I could see there's going to be trouble down the road between he and Audra, because she has her own plans and ideas. So does Kyle,
Yep.
and they're both type A personalities. So we'll see how how they
Right.
work, how the teamwork. We'll see how their teamwork.
Right. We'll see how the teamwork goes there.
Yeah, I think they'll need some team building.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of Kyle, let's talk a little bit about. So Kyle and Summer are having a little tiff here the last few days about custody, because she's finding out, Summer is, that he's moving out of the Abbott mansion, and he's moving to, we don't know where, do we?
No, but
You might have to fill in some of this, Luann, because I've been catching up here and there, and I don't have all the episodes.
Well, he's because first like when Summer came in yesterday, I think it was, she was like smoking at the gills. It's just like, you have a lot of nerve. You don't even tell me that you're switching jobs, that you're moving, and if you think you're going to take my son to Paris, with you, because that's where Glissade is located, you've got another thing coming, because I'm going to be fighting you for custody. He's like, wait a minute. He says, you're blowing everything out of proportion. And he said, I'm just looking to move out of the house here in town. He'll be at the same school, the same friends, nothing there is changing. Yep. And she said, but you're uprooting him from his family, the only home he's known. And Kyle said, and I see on both sides.
I can see both sides. Yeah.
I can, but Summer is just, she's acting so self-righteous, it's like,
she is.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh. And Kyle is, he is thinking about himself sometimes. That's Kyle. But
well, he's like you said earlier, Luann, he's kind of a little entitled rich kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Used to getting his way and having power and all that. So
yeah, but I can understand there's not going to be harmony in the Abbott household while he's still in the house, and if he leaves, well, that means Harrison has to leave too. And I know that just kills Diane and Jack, because they love having Harrison and Kyle at home.
Right. Right. That's right.
So that's, and Summer had thrown the little card out there that if things don't change, I'm going to be filing for sole custody. And Kyle said, well, give that a try. He said, I'm the biological father. And, I don't think Summer liked having that thrown in her face, which, she is his mother. That's the mother he knows. So that would hurt, but it is true. If it all came down in the court, he would get custody.
True. Yeah. It would for sure.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, Luann, what's going on with Devon?
With Devon and Lily.
I know what's going on, but what's this? He comes with this attitude every once in a while. What's going? Well, I wonder what that's all about.
Well,
I know he's Billy, but beyond that.
Yeah, and I think Devon he's not sure how to feel out Lily right now, because he's like, is Lily in our court or is she joining up with Billy? And in today's episode, he and Nate were talking before Lily came into the office, and he said, I don't know where Lily stands on all this. And Lily said, I need some time alone with Devon. So Nate left. And I think what really triggered her is when Jill did not buy into breaking up the merger. That threw Lily for a loop, because she thought through Billy that Jill was on board. And I don't think Lily was on board the whole way, but I think to appease Devon and Billy, she said, okay, let's see if we can work this out to break up the merger, make it Chancellor and Winters just like it was before. But when Jill didn't buy into this, I think Lily said, I don't really want this either, but it was too deep into it now. And today's episode, Devon was just like, Lily, are you going to stay with me, or are you going to join up with Billy? Because he said, Billy's going to go wild if you're not there to help him. And she said, right now, I'm not sure. She said, I think I just need a little more time to figure this all out. So I think Devon is just like, not sure of her allegiance, if it's to the family or to Billy. And she did tell Devon, and Billy figured out what our plan was, that, we were going to break it up, and then I wasn't going with him. I was going to come with Winters. And she said he wasn't real big on that. So I think she's just walking a real fine line now. So Devon is kind of left, not knowing what will happen. Will there be a split in their merger, or, what will happen?
Right. Right.
Yeah, but he there's times he doesn't smile too much, and he wasn't smiling a lot today.
No, he's been kind of cranky.
Yeah, he's been kind of cranky.
Okay, what's happening with Victor Newman? Is there any updates there, Luann?
Yeah, with Victor, I think he's kind of keeping an eye on Claire. He saw her with having just a drink or a visit with Jack or with Kyle. And Victor was concerned, and I was it was interesting, his conversation with Claire. He was kind of like, I don't know, what's your relationship with Kyle? She said, well, he's the father of Harrison. He's my boss, but she said we enjoy talking together, and he feels comfortable sharing things with me. And Victor's just like, will you be careful? Because he said, Kyle has a past, and you have to just be careful. She says, well, you're bringing what, or well, because she doesn't know he's the investor, but she said, well, you think well of him if you've worked with him in the past. And he said, yeah, but she said, no, I'm just friends. We're just friends. And so Victor said, well, okay, you just be careful. And he and Jack have gone round and round the last couple of days and weeks. And nothing good can, like Jack told Kyle, nothing good can come about when you team up with the mustache.
I like that, the mustache.
Yeah.
He's called him that. I can remember it must be 20 plus years, the mustache.
So Jack has come into Victor's office, and Victor just sits at his desk like, what are you doing here? And he's like, Jack will say, I told you not to mess with my family. You could do whatever you want to me, but don't be messing with my son and my wife. And Victor just says, you get out of here. He said, those are your problems. He said, don't come to me with your problems. And so right now, I think Victor is just kind of letting the Abbotts fall apart, watching them. I think he's still very upset what Jack did with Nikki. Yeah. Nikki came to Jack for help, and kind of how all that transpired. So if Victor's getting his revenge, or it's just like, we'll see. We'll see where it goes for Kyle working with Victor.
Yep, right. All right. Any other updates on Young and Restless, Luann, before we go to Super SUDSY?
Well, the Adam, Newman, and Chelsea, when last week they got that bad news about Connor with having. Oh,
I skipped over that. Thank you.
Yeah,
I skipped over that on the agenda. Adam and Chelsea. What happened there? Well, I think I know.
They got some bad news that Connor had taken a little turn for the worse, so they put him into inpatient unit, and they started drinking. They were having straight shots or whatever. No. And alcohol will bring out the inhibitions, and they Chelsea was crying, and then she was leaning on Adam's shoulder crying and talking, and all of a sudden a kiss became making love in bed, and
the clothes were flying, huh?
Yes, and then the regret you could see after it was all done. He looked one way in bed, she looked the other way in bed, and they both were like, "Oh my God, what
did we just do?"
Yeah, and they said, "We just want to go back to Pine Valley, or to Genoa City, and go get back to Billy and get back to Sally, because we can't go anywhere with this." Well, what's happening now is each of them, when Chelsea's with Billy or Adam's with Sally, they're remembering back to being in bed.
I saw that today.
Yeah, feeling the guilt, and and Sally and Billy can both tell that something's off.
Something's not right. Yeah,
something's off
I
with
agree.
each.
They're sensing too that something's not right there.
Right, but today they did get. Chelsea took a call that Connor made a good turnaround. He's out of inpatient, and he wanted to do a FaceTime with them. So they were happy about that, and said they have to go out to do that. And Billy and Sally just, both of them said, it seems like your mind is on something else, when they've been with them. So we'll see how, as they feel so guilty, will something else come out, because the only thing Adam alluded to while they were gone is that they got drunk. He said, yeah, we got drunk. He didn't say anything further, but, and, Billy and Sally didn't say anything after that, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I also want to make just a comment on that. I think what's the boy's name again?
Connor.
I want to say Connor's learning to be a mini Adam, and he's playing the system here.
Oh, yeah. Do you think so?
I think he's learned how to play that shrink and how to kind of maneuver that like Adam would have.
Yes.
And I think I just think something's going to blow up on that at some point.
Yeah. And it could. As he gets older, you mean?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
As time goes on.
As time goes on, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Super SUDSY, Luann.
Okay.
Will Kyle and Audra be able to get along as coworkers?
Oh, they're going to try very hard to work together because Victor wants them to work together. And, right now they have an office there in Genoa City, and they were already kind of discussing that with the keys and all that, and Audra was getting a little ticked with Kyle already. The only way they can have a good working relationship, I think, is if she works out of Paris, and it sounds like she might, and he works here in Genoa City. But I think it did not work the last time they tried working together. And I see a struggle for power with both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're both kind of snakes, and they're both power hungry.
Mm-hmm. And I think for Kyle, he's going to have got in too far with Victor here, and that too in the past never worked. So
Yeah.
we'll
Doesn't
see.
end well.
We'll see how long it takes, and it'll probably take a while because Glissade is a good company. It's a startup company, and they'll want to make it successful because Victor put a lot of money into it, the way it sounds.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Victor, he's loaded. He's flush with cash.
Yes. Yeah.
With fake cash.
With
Soap
fake
opera cash.
Yes. Monopoly money.
Yeah, monopoly money, so to speak. All right, next question. Will Summer start a custody battle with Kyle over Harrison? We've talked a little bit about it, but do you think she'll move forward?
I think if there's something more that comes about where she sees Kyle isn't spending as much time with him, or if she's, say Claire and Kyle start spending more time together, and Summer doesn't like that. She sees that's a conflict of interest. Perhaps she will, and that could become very heated for them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. What is Victor's end game dealing with Jack Abbott?
I think to make Glissade a big competitor for Jabot, and to try to compete with Jabot. And I know he'd like to bring Jack down, but Jabot has been in place for so long. I don't know if that's possible. What do you think?
Yeah, but over the years, it's kind of funny how this stuff works. I mean, Victor bought, I remember when Victor, you probably do too, when Victor bought out John Abbott, Jack's dad. Mm-hmm. He overtook the company. I shouldn't say bought out, because he kind of overtook it, and John didn't even know it until it was too late. But so anything's possible. I think his end game is going to try to be to put Jack or put Jabot out of business. Although, he still cares about Ashley, so I can't quite see that either.
Yeah.
I could see him taking Jack down somehow.
The only thing when you're talking about this, the only thing would be to see that he could bring them down and then do a takeover of their company.
Yeah, that's
somehow.
true.
Yeah,
that's
somehow
true
like
too.
that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. So next question is, what is going on with Sharon? She's been kind of weird in a lot of ways, but she's also with this mourning of Cassie, which is understandable, but it's like it's kind of resurfacing again.
Yeah, and in the last 2 days, yesterday's episode, she was looking at the scrapbook of pictures, and then Lucy happened to come over, and they were talking about Cassie, and Lucy doesn't know all the backstory to it. And, Sharon just said, I really miss Cassie. And, it just was hard. And then she just said she was in an accident. And, and then it was Heather that kind of dropped it to Lucy that, because Lucy was talking with Heather and she said, Mom, I talked to Sharon and she was remembering Cassie and she was very sad. She said she, had died and she was in an accident. And then Heather says, well, yeah, and that was real hard for your dad to get over it. And so Lucy's like, she didn't say anything.
I didn't catch that part.
Yeah, but she was like, okay, well, why is, in her head, you could see, why is Dad feeling bad? And then Sharon happened to see Daniel and she said, hey, Lucy stopped by and she saw me looking at Cassie's pictures. And so, I explained that she died in an accident, but she said, I did not mention you at all. And Daniel said, well, I appreciate that. Well, now he's going to wonder, how did Lucy find out? Because I'm sure Lucy's going to say something to him. And then hopefully she'll say, well, Mom mentioned it to me. But I think what's going on with Sharon, remember she had depression a couple years ago. And in last week's episode, she was acting really off. And even Mariah said, Mom, you seem really off today. Because her mind wasn't quite there. She'd be off wandering around and stuff. Well, she at the end of one of the episodes last week, she said to the doc, she called and said, I think we need to talk about the change you made in my medication. So I think she's got some medication changes going on that's affecting her a little bit. So maybe we'll hear more about that. But I didn't realize she had changed the medications, but apparently
I didn't either. I didn't catch that either.
So I'm thinking that's some of it, what's caused that.
Well, and you and I have talked about this before, but I wish they would do a little. Sharon's a good actress. I wish they would do more with her character.
Oh, I do too. I agree.
And maybe they will here. I don't know.
I hope so.
All right, let's transition to the Bold and Beautiful.
Yes, and
that's really getting wild.
Yeah, that's really getting wild. Yes.
All right. So Hope found out. This is some time ago, but just to recap. So Hope found out that Thomas and Paris are engaged when they came back home, and they're planning to marry. Today, that was an interesting scene. Thomas went and said goodbye to Hope, and he said he was returning to Paris with Paris.
And their son.
And his son. Yeah. And of course,
with
Hope,
Douglas.
and with Douglas. So she's all broken up. And I think she's kicking herself. She's wishing, why didn't I say yes?
You know? But she had 3 chances. And even on last Friday, Thomas asked her again at their pool party. And he said, I'm going to ask you again, would you want to, marry me? And she said no again. And he said, I knew you'd answer that way. That's why I asked. But he said, you've had your chances to say yes and you've said no. And he said, that's why I'm moving on too. Because he said, I've got to live my life. You have to live yours. And apparently you do not want to live it with me. And the shock of it when he came back and he was with Paris and an engagement ring, it's like, oh my God, he's so impulsive.
Oh my God.
And that's the thing that Hope is going back to. It's like, oh my gosh, you just told me you loved me. You just asked me to marry you. And here you come back and, a short time and you're engaged and you're going and, and then I don't know why Hope went to that party. It's like, they were not that they were rubbing it in her face, but, about getting married and, it's talking about the wedding. And it's just like, if I would have been Hope, I would have left,
Yeah. Why would you, put yourself through that, right?
But, and I give Paris credit. She gave Hope the riot act because she saw, when the door was kind of open at the Forrester Creations, she overheard Hope and Thomas talking.
I saw that part. Yeah.
Yeah. And just said,
she was making her last ditch effort. Hope was to Thomas.
Hope was make her laugh. Yep. And she just said, you leave him alone. He's engaged to me now. You've had your chance. We are happy. We want to have children together. And Douglas does like me. And, and then in today's episode, I think Hope, in her talk with Brooke, came to realize that I need to let go and wish Thomas and Paris the best and whatever their life however it turns out. And so, but I think she was surprised when Thomas still said, "Hey, I'm leaving to go back to Paris," with Paris and Douglas. So I think just the thought that Douglas won't be around is hard, but.
And she still cares about Thomas. I mean,
I think she does.
Her feelings are all over the board because she's got feelings for Thomas, and she also has feelings for Finn. I mean, so
she's got mixed.
She's a confused woman, Luann.
She's a confused woman. Lots on her mind.
Yes.
I don't know how she can even work.
I don't either. Well, I don't think she does.
I don't. Yeah.
Let's see. So let's talk about Finn is trying to deal with Steffi, and today he tells her that he's going to be a better husband and be there for her going forward.
Which he's a good supportive husband. He has always good intentions, but I think sometimes he's too nice and
naive as hell.
And he gets taken advantage of. And Sheila tried to do that, and he with not well, Sheila's intentions I know, and Hope's intentions with him are just friendly right now, and she's
fighting it though.
She's fighting because he is the perfect guy. He's a good listener, and he's kind and thoughtful, and Hope. It's everything Hope would want in a man, except he's married to Stephanie.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, she and Brooke were really talking through that today, and Brooke is saying, well, I don't do what I've done. And I was selfish over the years and thought only of myself. And I heard
went after all the Forrester men.
Yeah, exactly. And she said, maybe it's time to let Thomas go and, let him find his happiness, and you will too. And she said, I think you're trying to push yourself onto Thomas because you want to not think about your feelings for Finn. And so she has to work through that. But, at some point, I think, unless she can really control her feelings, I think in one of her massage episodes,
sessions
with Finn, Finn does really love Stephanie. So if he would, something has to bring him to a point where he's feeling anger or sadness with Stephanie, that he'd even want to join up with Hope in, reciprocating a kiss or something, because he does not have those kind of feelings for Hope. He looks at her as a good friend, someone he respects, and because he always says, "You're too good for Thomas." And he said, I feel bad saying that because he's my brother-in-law, but he said, "You are too good for Thomas." So hopefully,
which means he thinks highly of Hope. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. So I just don't see him doing that unless he's put in a bad position somehow where, he's down and out, and, Hope just happens to be there with a shoulder to cry on, and then that's how it happens. I don't know.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you said. The only thing I would say about soap operas is, Luann, I agree he's been very strong about his feelings for Steffi, but those things change quickly in soap operas.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Very well.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about, Deacon and, I can't think of the bartender's name.
Hollis.
Huh?
Hollis? Yes, Hollis.
Okay, so Deacon and Hollis are concerned about Tom's overdose when he was singing at El Giardino, and he fell over dead of an apparent overdose.
Yeah, drug overdose.
Yeah, drug overdose. And today we see that Tom evidently left a gym bag or a backpack laying on the floor in the storage area at El Giardino. And Hollis, the bartender, was starting to look at it today, and I think he found some cards. And I think those are the letters and cards that got returned from Poppy. I think that's what we're going to find out.
Okay.
Because I think he said that to Poppy earlier, that I sent you all these cards and mail, and it all got returned to me. So I think that's what that is.
Interesting.
He's going to read all that stuff, and he's going to be like, oh, boy.
Wow. Well, we'll talk about the super sudsy, but that's
Yeah.
a good point. I did not remember. I forgot
Yeah.
about that. That he said, "Poppy, all your letters got returned to me."
Which he was
So
writing
yes,
things like, I think I'm the father, da da da. So all that's going to be
yeah.
contained in
Oh,
those in
yes,
those letters and
yes,
cards.
yes.
And shit is going to hit the fan.
It could.
Yeah.
It could get dirty.
I love it, Luann. I love it.
Yeah, and we haven't talked really since that episode when Tom did do his little impromptu concert, and then
God, is he bad, by the way? We haven't
I know.
talked.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? You're trying to sell us that he was even gifted at one time? I can do better than that.
Yeah, I know.
In karaoke.
Well, yeah, we'd like to hear that.
Well, that's going to happen this winter, Luann,
Okay.
in Florida.
But when we saw somebody putting that drug in his drink,
Yeah.
you kind of wondered who it was. And
Yep.
that night, it was just strange how, was Jack there? Lee showed up, and
I know we don't know who it is for sure.
yes, no, we're not sure. But the
Yeah.
only thing you and I have talked about this is
Yep.
that Lee, as a doctor, if something like that had happened where somebody fell down and they were sick, a doctor would jump up to help, and she just sat there. And I
Right.
thought, and and
Plus, a doctor would know how to kill somebody and how to poison, how much
exactly.
level of poison you would need to kill somebody.
And and Poppy seemed genuinely surprised and saddened the next day when Bill told her.
Yeah, I thought it
that,
was Poppy, but now I'm questioning that.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of wondering. And then she had a sweet memory of the past of of her and Tom. So you don't know, but it will be interesting because there's some secret that they still want
Yeah.
not shared
I agree.
by killing Tom. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's big. I mean,
I think
it's Luna for one thing.
Oh, yes. Yes.
and maybe that's all it is, but I think it might even be more than that. Maybe not.
Yeah. Maybe,
I don't know.
we'll find out.
All right, super sudsy questions for you,
Okay.
Luann.
All right.
The first one is, will Hope go to Finn and cry on his shoulder? And will that go anywhere? You've kind of alluded to that maybe
Yeah.
will happen.
I think, it's something that Finn has to be down about something too, because, Hope could go to cry on his shoulder, but will something happen to Finn where it reverses, where he comes to Hope now and has to cry on her shoulder about something? Because that's the only way unless he really feels bad for Hope, but, he already told her to move on for Thomas. And so if there's another situation that will arise for Hope or for Finn that
Right.
brings them into each other's arms,
Right.
it has,
You would
because
think it would be, yeah, you're right, that there's
Yeah.
going to be some sort of an event that occurs
Yeah.
with him and maybe
Yeah.
Steffi that causes him to turn to Hope as well.
Right, because Steffi and Finn are very close right now. In today's episode, I mean, wow, he was pledging his,
Yeah, I agree.
everything to her because he said, "I know I've done wrong I won't let Sheila get in our way anymore, not let anything get in our way. I love you." And Stephanie said, "I forgive you because I love you so much." So,
Right.
Something would have to change there again.
Which that can happen in an instant too. I mean, something with Sheila and, with him showing up at an event or who knows, something that
Yeah.
pisses her off. It doesn't take
Right,
much.
right.
Next question. Where will Thomas and Paris's relationship go in the future?
Well, I think they will. I think they will get married. Unless Hope jumps in there and breaks up, but I don't think she will. I think she's made the peace today, and Thomas, I think he does as much as he can. He does love Paris because she wants to be with him, and they seem genuinely, except when Hope is in the room, they seem genuinely to love each other until Hope is in the room. Then he kind of looks at her, and I don't know if he's looking at her because he just feels bad that he's kissing Paris in front of her, in front of Hope. But I think they will get married, and does that mean they'll move to Paris again for a little bit? That they're out of the picture? I don't know. What do you think?
Here's what I think. I think that I think he'll marry Paris. Thomas will. I think I still think his plan. He's got a master plan here, and I still think he's hoping that Hope comes back to him and says, "Okay, I want to marry you," and then he breaks it off with Paris. I still think that was his master plan when he hooked up with Paris.
Yes, yeah, probably.
But I do think you're right. I think it's going to go down, and I think Hope is going to end up with Finn. And then what I think is going to happen is Steffi will try to get Thomas and Hope together.
Oh.
I know that seems unlikely, but if she loses her husband to Hope, I think that'll happen.
Yeah, maybe because she will be so angry at Hope.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. And we haven't seen
Hard to
Liam.
say, but...
Yeah, we haven't seen Liam for a long time, so who knows what will be.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know.
The whiner.
The whiner.
Next question is, will kids' troubles in their marriages cause problems for Ridge and Brooke?
Well, it depends upon what kind of problems the kids keep having, because Ridge and Brooke seem to be working it out right now, okay, with Thomas and Paris and Hope. And, they're talking with each of their own children. And then in today's episode, Ridge and Brooke were talking, here, I had a good talk with my son, I had a good talk with my daughter. So it seems like that part is working out, but as more problems show up, with their kids, I think it's going to bring more conflict for Brooke and Ridge. Yes.
Okay. Yep, I agree. But if you can see it, that if Hope ends up with Finn, that's going to really piss Ridge off. Being Steffi's his daughter, and I can see that causing problems for Hope and Brooke and Ridge.
That would cause big problems.
That's kind of what I'm kind of foreseeing happening there.
That will
we'll
cause
see.
big problem because Ridge was already kind of ticked at Finn for playing up to, or not playing up, but being kind to Sheila, where he knew how much that hurt Stephanie, and he was not happy with Finn and let him know that. So if he goes to Hope, Ridge, that'll
cause some marital issues.
That'll cause him, But remember, Brooke and Ridge aren't married yet. I don't know why they don't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I always kind of forget that, actually.
They never got remarried. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it never lasts, right?
Right now, maybe this is the way to make it work. By not being married.
Well, I think we've answered my last question for you, and that was, what will Hope do? Will she go after Thomas or Finn? If you had to choose, you would say Finn? Yeah,
I think Finn, no.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Me too.
I think she's made the peace, and she like Brooke said to her, you did have the chance. You said no 3 times. You weren't ready. You said no, and so if you wanted to be with him, you would have said yes, and that's the way it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And in closing thoughts for
Go
the
ahead.
Bold and Beautiful, it sounds like there's going to be another possible murder or death. It occurs at El Giardano's again, and I think Sheila comes upon it. So
then she'll probably be a suspect because of her history. I wonder who the hell that would be.
I don't know, but I wonder if it has something to do with Hollis finding his Tom's bag, and somebody really doesn't want him to find the information or read the information.
They murder him.
I wonder if it's him.
Whoever the bad guy is, or bad girl. Yeah.
Yeah, because it can't be a big character because, they're not going to get rid of one of the characters. So I think we see that happening. Well, tomorrow's Friday already, so it
could
should
be Jack.
You never know.
No, but think about that.
Yes,
Jack...
it could be Jack.
Yeah. Well, it could be, I mean, it could be a lot of people.
Yeah. And then just one thought on the Young and the Restless. The Alan and Tracy relationship. And it's curious that all of it, that relationship is blossoming a little bit while Tracy is in Paris with Ashley. And all of a sudden, it's just curious why Danny and Christine show up at Tracy's door.
Oh, really? See, I missed all that.
Yeah. And they meet Alan. And, my sister, who also watches these same soaps, she said, she's always said that she thinks it's Martin. She says, I think Alan is really Martin.
I said that too, Luann.
You did too. So
yeah, I probably said it to Terry because it was probably Terry. No, it was Young and Restless.
Yeah, it would be me. Yeah. You probably
Maybe
said that
it was
too.
you then. Yeah, I said that too. I think he switched roles. I really do.
Yeah, because why? If Danny and Christine noticed something, because she was seeing something and reading something where Christine comes upon it and says she doesn't think that's Alan. So, cool. That could be some interesting episodes coming up in.
That's what I think. I thought that right away. They switched those two. He's playing his brother.
Yeah, he's playing pretty good right now.
Damn right he is. And if he's that mentally unstable, wow, good for him.
He's using he's using Tracy as another candidate for evaluation, I guess.
Right, exactly. He wants to play his amateur psychologist role in place of his brother.
Right. But that's all I have.
All right, very good, Luann. Thanks again for podcasting, and until we dish again, keep it sudsy.
Look forward to it.
All right, and we're out.